Welcome to Vancouver, British Columbia, one of the most vibrant, diverse, and picturesque cities in Canada. Nestled between towering mountains and the vast Pacific Ocean, this city is known for its natural beauty, modern architecture, and artistic soul. And today, we're stepping inside one of its most iconic cultural institutions, the Vancouver Art Gallery. This isn't just a building full of paintings and sculptures. The Vancouver Art Gallery is a place where stories are told through brushstrokes, carvings, photography, textiles, and multimedia installations. It's where history, identity, and imagination come together under one roof. From Indigenous artworks that reflect thousands of years of tradition to bold, contemporary pieces that challenge how we see the world. This gallery is a living timeline of human creativity. Founded in 1931, the Vancouver Art Gallery has grown to become the fifth largest art museum in Canada and a major center for artistic innovation on the West Coast. It houses over 12,000 artworks, including masterpieces by world-famous artists, powerful Indigenous stories, and the largest collection of works by Emily Carr, artists deeply connected to the forests, Indigenous cultures, and spirit of the Pacific Northwest. But what really makes this museum special is the way it blends the past and present. Every room, every painting, and every sculpture feels like a conversation between history and modern life, between tradition and change, between cultures from around the world. So, whether you're an art lover, a traveler, a student, or someone just curious to learn something new, this journey will open your eyes to more than just paintings. It will show you the emotions, stories, and people behind them. Stay with me as we explore breathtaking galleries, discover the secrets behind iconic artworks, and uncover why the Vancouver Art Gallery is not only a place to see art, but a place to feel it. The story of the Vancouver Art Gallery begins in 1931, during a time when Vancouver was still growing from a young port city into a dynamic cultural hub. A group of passionate art enthusiasts and civic leaders believed that Vancouver deserved a space dedicated to preserving and celebrating artistic expression. With limited resources but huge ambitions, they founded the Vancouver Art Gallery, or V, in a small building on Georgia Street with just 7 paintings in its initial collection. Over the decades, the gallery slowly expanded, acquiring donations, artworks, and support from the public. What started as a modest local gallery gradually transformed into a national cultural institution. But the biggest transformation came in the 1970s and 1980s. When the gallery outgrew its original space, a bold decision was made. The gallery would relocate to the historic Vancouver Law Courts building, a grand neoclassical structure designed by the renowned architect Francis Rattenbury, who was also behind iconic buildings like the Fairmont Empress Hotel in Victoria and the BC Parliament buildings. This old courthouse, built between 1906 and 1911, featured massive stone columns, a central copper dome, marble staircases, and high archways symbolizing power, authority, and tradition. But it was no longer being used for judicial purposes. Instead of demolishing it, the city chose to give it a new life as a home for art. In 1983, world-famous Canadian architect Arthur Erickson, known for his modern, minimalist, and nature-inspired designs, was tasked with transforming the courthouse into a modern art museum. Erickson didn't erase the building's history. He preserved its classical exterior while completely reimagining the interior with open gallery spaces, white walls, glass ceilings, and areas designed to let natural light illuminate the art. What was once a place of law and judgment became a place of creativity and imagination. Today, the Vancouver Art Gallery is the 5th largest art museum in Canada, housing more than 12,000 works of art. It has hosted exhibitions from some of the most influential artists in the world, while also providing a platform for local and Indigenous artists to share their stories. But the story doesn't stop here. The gallery is preparing for another major transformation, a brand new, purpose-built building planned at Larville Park in downtown Vancouver. This new gallery, designed by the award-winning Swiss architecture firm Herzog & de Meuron, will feature sustainable wood architecture, more exhibition space, outdoor terraces, and dedicated areas for Indigenous art and community events. It represents the future of what an art gallery can be: open, inclusive, and innovative, from humble beginnings with 7 paintings to becoming a world-class institution. The Vancouver Art Gallery's history is a story of vision, resilience, and a deep belief in the power of art. The architecture of the Vancouver Art Gallery is one of the most fascinating parts of its story, because the building itself is a masterpiece before you even step inside. Originally constructed between 1906 and 1911, the building was not designed as an art gallery at all. It was built to serve as the Vancouver Law Courts, a symbol of justice and authority in the growing city. The building was designed by Francis Mawson Rattenbury, a British-born architect famous for creating monumental structures across British Columbia. His style was heavily influenced by neoclassical architecture, which aimed to reflect power, stability, and elegance. From the outside, the building immediately commands attention. You'll see grand stone columns lining the entrance, giving the building a classical, temple-like presence. A large central dome made of copper, which has aged into a striking green patina over time. Symmetrical staircases leading up to the front entrance popular for photographs and public gatherings. Elaborate stone carvings, arched windows, and massive wooden doors that reflect the craftsmanship of the early 20th century. But in the early 1980s, when the courthouse was no longer in use, the city chose to transform this historic building rather than demolish it. That's when Canadian architect Arthur Erickson stepped in to redesign it as a modern art museum. Arthur Erickson, known for his minimalist style and harmony between architecture and nature, carefully preserved the building's historic exterior while giving the inside a completely new identity. As you walk inside, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. Bright, open gallery spaces with high ceilings and white walls allow artwork to take center stage. Large skylights and glass ceilings are used to bring in natural light, creating a calm and reflective environment. The courthouse's original marble staircases, columns, and archways remain in certain areas, blending history with modern design. Corridors are wide and spacious, designed to guide visitors smoothly from one exhibition to the next. One of the most beautiful features is the rooftop, pavilion, and outdoor courtyard. This area provides stunning views of downtown Vancouver's skyline, the mountains, and nearby landmarks like Robson Square. It is often used for special events, outdoor installations, and seasonal art displays. Erickson also connected the gallery to Robson Square, an urban civic center featuring a skating rink, gardens, waterfalls, and public seating. This seamless connection helped turn the area into a cultural heart of Vancouver. Today, the building is admired not only for the art inside, but for being a rare example of heritage architecture that has been beautifully repurposed. It represents the perfect mix of old and new, a 100-year-old courthouse, reborn into a modern home for creativity. Standing in front of it, you're not just looking at a gallery, you're looking at history, transformation, and the belief that architecture can inspire just like art. One of the most treasured and defining features of the Vancouver Art Gallery is its world-renowned collection of works by Emily Carr, an artist, writer, and visionary whose work is deeply connected to the landscapes and indigenous cultures of the Pacific Northwest. Who was Emily Carr? Emily Carr, 1871 to 1945, was born in Victoria, British Columbia, and is considered one of Canada's most important artists. At a time when women artists were rarely taken seriously, she traveled alone into remote indigenous villages, coastal forests, and wilderness areas of British Columbia. She sketched, painted, and wrote about the land, the totem poles, and the spiritual connection between nature and indigenous culture. She wasn't just an artist, she was a storyteller, environmentalist, and one of the first known indigenous painters to respectfully document the art and lives of First Nations communities. Today, her work is seen as a bridge between indigenous heritage and Canadian identity. Why is her collection important here? The Vancouver Art Gallery holds the largest and most significant collection of Emily Carr's artworks in the world, including hundreds of paintings, sketches, and drawings, personal journals, letters, and writings, early watercolor works, large oil paintings, and her later modernist artworks. Themes in her art, Emily Carr's paintings are deeply emotional and filled with movement, color, and symbolism. Her work is often categorized into three major themes: indigenous cultural heritage. She painted abandoned villages, totem poles, and carved houses of indigenous peoples such as the Haida, Kwakwakak, and Nut. But unlike many artists of her time, she painted them with respect and spiritual admiration, not just as exotic subjects. The forest and spiritual nature. Her forests are alive with swirling lines, deep greens, and towering trees. She believed nature had a soul and that the forests of British Columbia were sacred. Mysticism and modernism. Later in life, she began experimenting with modernist techniques, simplified shapes, bold colors, and abstract forms. Her artworks became more spiritual, reflecting her inner world. Iconic works you may see at the gallery. Big Raven, a haunting painting of a raven carved into a totem pole, surrounded by foggy forest. Totem and forest, a symbolic image of a totem pole rising powerfully into the misty sky. Forest, British Columbia, a swirling, almost dreamlike depiction of deep forest life. Blue Sky and Scorned, as Timber, beloved of the sky, paintings showing lonely trees standing against vast skies, symbolizing resilience and solitude. Her personal story at the gallery. The Vancouver Art Gallery doesn't just display her paintings, it tells her life story. Some rooms include her original paint boxes and brushes, excerpts from her published books, such as Claywick and The House of All Sorts, photographs of her traveling with her dog and pet monkey, Woo, her writings about loneliness, nature, spirituality, and the struggle of being an artist in a conservative time. Why this collection matters today. Emily Carr's artworks continue to influence artists around the world. Her work encourages viewers to respect nature and understand its spirit, acknowledge the deep history and traditions of indigenous peoples, celebrate individuality, creativity, and courage. The Vancouver Art Gallery serves as the official guardian of her legacy. Visiting this collection feels less like looking at paintings and more like stepping into the soul of British Columbia, its forests, its cultures, and the life of a woman who dared to see the world differently. Beyond Emily Carr. One of the most powerful aspects of the Vancouver Art Gallery is its dedication to showcasing the rich artistic heritage of Canada, especially the voices and creativity of Indigenous communities. This section of the gallery isn't just about viewing art, it's about understanding identity, history, land, memory, and resilience, a celebration of Canadian art. The gallery features a diverse collection of Canadian art that spans centuries, from early colonial landscapes to modern and contemporary creations. Visitors can explore how Canadian art has evolved alongside the nation itself. Key highlights include Group of Seven and Lauren Harris. These artists are iconic in Canadian art history. They painted dramatic landscapes of mountains, forests, and icy wilderness, trying to define a uniquely Canadian style. Lauren Harris, in particular, is strongly represented in the gallery, with his spiritual, simplified mountain shapes and Arctic scenes. 19th-century Canadian landscapes romanticize paintings of rugged scenery, vast prairies, and dramatic coastlines. Modern and contemporary Canadian artists, including Jean-Paul Riopelli, Michael Snow, and Jeff Wall. Jeff Wall is especially notable for his large-scale photographic lightboxes that blend realism with cinematic storytelling. Indigenous art, ancient, contemporary, and living. One of the most important commitments of the Vancouver Art Gallery is honoring and elevating Indigenous art, recognizing it not as historical artifact but as a living, evolving culture. The gallery displays works from First Nations of the Pacific Northwest Coast, Haida, Musqueam, Squamish, Gitxsan, and more, Métis and Inuit artists, sculptures, carvings, prints, and textile works from Arctic communities and prairie regions. Types of Indigenous art: you may see carved totem poles and masks, richly detailed masks used in traditional dances and ceremonies, often representing animals, spirits, and ancestral beings. Totem poles that tell stories of clans, lineage, and spiritual heritage. Bentwood boxers and carved panels, traditional boxers made from a single piece of wood, used for ceremonies or storage. Cedar panels carved with intricate designs, symbols of power, family, and nature. Contemporary Indigenous art: this is not just traditional art. Many Indigenous artists use modern materials, digital media, photography, and surrealism. They explore themes like colonization, land rights, climate change, identity, language loss, cultural revival, and resistance. Notable Indigenous artists featured Bill Reid, Haida, world-renowned for his gold jewelry, wooden carvings, and monumental sculptures, such as the Spirit of Haida Gwa. His work bridges traditional Haida stories with modern sculptural elegance. Lawrence Paul, Yuxwilupton Coast Salish, Okanagan, known for his bold political paintings that challenge colonialism, environmental destruction, and government policies affecting Indigenous peoples. Susan Point Musqueam, a master of Coast Salish art, famous for revitalizing traditional spindle whorls and updating them with modern design. Kent Monkman Cree creates provocative paintings and installations that reimagine colonial history from an Indigenous perspective, often using his alter ego, Mischief Eagle Testicle. Why this section matters: this part of the gallery is more than just an exhibition, it's a space of respect, learning, and reconciliation. Through these artworks, visitors are reminded that Indigenous culture is not in the past, it is alive and evolving. Art can preserve languages, stories, and spiritual beliefs. Canada's history is a mix of beauty, struggle, resilience, and survival. Understanding art helps us understand the land we are on, the people who were here first, and the shared future we are creating together. Through Canadian and Indigenous art, the Vancouver Art Gallery becomes more than a museum, it becomes a voice, a memory keeper, and a bridge between cultures. While the Vancouver Art Gallery is deeply rooted in Canadian and Indigenous art, it also reaches far beyond national borders. Its international art collection brings together works from Europe, the United States, Asia, and other parts of the world, showcasing how global creativity connects people, cultures, and histories. This collection allows visitors to see how art movements in different parts of the world influenced one another, and how artists responded to major historical events, religion, politics, war, and human emotion. A glimpse into global art history: the international collection includes works from different eras, each representing a unique moment in artistic evolution, European classical and Renaissance influence. While the gallery is not primarily a European museum, it includes select works and prints that reflect religious themes, mythology, and early portraiture from the Renaissance and Baroque periods. 19th century European art: this section includes drawings, etchings, landscapes, and romantic artworks that explore nature, emotion, and human drama. Impressionism and modernism, influenced by artists from France and Europe. The gallery features examples of modernist movements where artists broke away from realism to capture emotion, movement, and light. 20th century and postmodern art: this era introduces abstract art, surrealism, pop art, minimalism, and contemporary global art styles that challenge conventional thinking. Notable, international artists represented while the specific artworks change depending on exhibitions. The Vancouver Art Gallery has displayed or holds works by several influential artists, including Pablo Picasso, known for cubism and radical innovation in form and perspective. His sketches and prints reflect fragmented shapes, emotional depth, and the human condition. Marc Chagall, dreamlike, colorful paintings filled with floating figures, village life, and biblical symbolism. Andy Warhol, a leading figure in pop art, famous for his depictions of celebrities, consumer goods, and his exploration of mass media and fame. Salvador Dali, known for surreal, dream-inspired landscapes, melting clocks, and symbolic imagery. Henri Matisse, bold colors, fluid shapes, and simplified lines that emphasize emotion over detail. Alberto Giacometti, sculptures of thin, elongated human figures that reflect feelings of isolation and existentialism. Edward Weston and Ansel Adams, pioneers of photography. Their black and white images capture nature, form, and human beauty. Global Contemporary Art. The gallery also showcases contemporary artists from Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. These works explore modern issues such as migration and identity, technology and artificial intelligence, war, displacement, and political resistance, gender and cultural diversity, climate change, and the environment. Special international exhibitions. Hosted in the past, some standout international exhibitions that drew world attention include Guape, Couture Beyond, featuring breathtaking haute couture gowns by the Chinese fashion designer, blending fantasy, silk, embroidery, and imperial design. Takashi Murakami, The Octopus Eats Its Own Leg, a blend of Japanese pop culture, anime, Buddhism, and consumerism. Claude Monet's Secret Garden, hosted in collaboration, displayed iconic impressionist paintings capturing light, water lilies, and reflection. The Imitation Game, Visual Culture in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, exploring how AI, robotics, and digital tools affect art and human creativity. Why the international collection matters. This section of the gallery helps visitors understand that art is a universal language. It crosses national borders and speaks to shared emotions like love, fear, hope, and struggle. Global art shows how different cultures influence one another. For example, European artists being inspired by Japanese prints, or Western modernism affecting Asian contemporary artists. It helps viewers connect local stories to global contexts, comparing Canadian identity with world perspectives. The international collection adds depth and diversity to the Vancouver Art Gallery. It reminds us that while art may come from different corners of the planet, its purpose is the same: to express what it means to be human. One of the reasons the Vancouver Art Gallery remains exciting and relevant is because it constantly evolves. Beyond its permanent collection, the gallery is widely known for hosting innovative, thought-provoking, and world-class temporary exhibitions and installations. These rotating exhibits bring fresh energy to the gallery, showcasing everything from contemporary digital art and fashion to photography, artificial intelligence, and global cultural narratives. Unlike permanent galleries, these exhibitions change throughout the year, allowing visitors to experience something new every time they visit. What makes these exhibitions unique? They feature internationally acclaimed artists and designers, alongside rising local and indigenous voices. Many exhibitions address modern social issues such as climate change, identity, technology, colonization, and cultural transformation. The gallery often uses immersive designs, including large-scale installations, projections, audiovisual experiences, and interactive elements that engage visitors emotionally and personally. Notable past exhibitions and installations. Here are some of the most memorable and impactful exhibitions presented at the gallery. 1. Takashi Murakami, The Octopus Eats Its Own Leg. One of the gallery's most popular exhibitions featured large works combining Japanese anime, pop culture, Buddhism, mythology, and street art. Murakami's iconic characters, bright colors, and surreal creativity filled entire rooms. 2. Guope, Couture Beyond, breathtaking fusion of fashion and fine art. Showcased haute couture gowns designed by Chinese fashion legend Guope, known for dressing celebrities like Rihanna. Each piece looked like wearable sculpture, handcrafted with silk, embroidery, gold thread, crystals, and royal-inspired designs. 3. The Imitation Game, Visual Culture in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, a futuristic exhibition exploring how AI, robotics, algorithms, and surveillance technologies change how we create and view art. Included works that used machine learning, facial recognition, and interactive digital screens. 4. Douglas Coupland, Everywhere is Anywhere, is Anything, is Everything. An exhibition by Vancouver-born author and artist Douglas Coupland blended pop art, technology, social media, and Canadian identity. Included sculptures made from Lego, 3D printed models, and commentary on digital life. 5. Mashup, The Birth of Modern Culture. one of the gallery's largest and most ambitious exhibitions ever, explored how remixed culture sampling, copying, reinterpreting has shaped modern creativity, spanned multiple floors with art from film, music, photography, internet culture, and graffiti. Public art installations and outdoor exhibits. The gallery doesn't limit itself to indoor space, as its steps, courtyard, and rooftop often feature outdoor installations. These may include large sculptures or temporary structures, light installations during winter festivals, indigenous carvings or community art projects, public banners and murals that reflect current events or cultural celebrations. Support for emerging and local artists. The gallery also runs exhibitions dedicated to local British Columbian artists, giving a platform to new voices. Many of these explore topics like migration, urban life, identity, environmental issues, and personal history. These rotating exhibitions are crucial because they keep the gallery dynamic and interactive, encourage visitors to think critically about modern life and society, create space for diverse voices, especially marginalized or underrepresented communities, bridge the gap between traditional fine art and modern creative forms like digital art, photography, fashion, AI, and street art. The Vancouver Art Gallery is not just a place to admire art, it's a powerful center for learning, creativity, and community connection. Beyond its beautiful exhibitions and historic halls, the gallery is deeply committed to educating, inspiring, and involving people of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures. From children taking their first steps into the art world to experienced artists seeking inspiration, the gallery offers a wide range of educational programs designed to spark curiosity and nurture creativity. One of the most popular initiatives is the school programs, where thousands of students from elementary to high school visit the gallery each year. Guided by trained educators, students don't just look at art, they engage with it. They ask questions, discuss ideas, and participate in hands-on activities that help them understand the techniques, meanings, and cultural stories behind different artworks. Teachers are also given educational resources to continue learning in the classroom. For families and younger children, the gallery hosts Family Sundays and art workshops, where kids can paint, draw, sculpt, and experiment with different materials. These events turn art into play, helping children express their emotions, learn patience, and develop creative thinking in a fun, stress-free environment. The gallery also supports teens and young adults through youth and teen programs, including leadership workshops, mentorships with artists, and opportunities to help design youth-led exhibitions. These programs encourage young people to use art as a voice to express their thoughts about identity, society, and the world around them. For adults, the Vancouver Art Gallery organizes lectures, artist talks, film screenings, and panel discussions. These are often led by historians, filmmakers, indigenous leaders, and world-renowned artists who share their experiences and speak about topics like climate change, cultural preservation, politics, and modern society through the lens of art. Visitors can ask questions, interact with experts, and engage in meaningful conversations. The gallery also focuses strongly on community and inclusion. It partners with local communities, including indigenous groups, immigrant families, schools, and nonprofit organizations, to create programs that are accessible to everyone. There are pay-what-you-can nights, free admission days, virtual tours, ASL interpretation services, and multilingual resources to make sure no one feels left out. During difficult times, such as the pandemic, the gallery adapted by offering online exhibitions, virtual art classes, and digital storytelling sessions, allowing people to explore art from home. This shift made art more accessible globally. Through all these efforts, the Vancouver Art Gallery proves that art isn't just something to look at, it's something to experience, to learn from, and to share with others. It builds stronger communities, inspires new generations, and reminds us that creativity is a language everyone can understand. The Vancouver Art Gallery is not just a home for art, it is a piece of art itself. Its architecture blends history, elegance, and modern creativity in a way that makes the building as fascinating as the masterpieces inside it. Located in the heart of downtown Vancouver, the gallery is housed in the former provincial courthouse, a grand neoclassical building originally built in 1906, designed by the famous Canadian architect Francis Rattenbury. The structure features majestic columns, stone archways, graceful balconies, and a large central staircase, all of which reflect the architectural style of early 20th century civic buildings. Walking up the wide steps to the entrance feels like stepping into a monumental chapter of Vancouver's past. One of the most striking architectural details is the building's massive stone facade, combined with classical elements like Corinthian columns, domed skylights, and limestone walls. These aspects create a sense of grandeur and dignity, reminding visitors of the building's former role as a courthouse. Inside, the gallery has been carefully redesigned to accommodate modern exhibitions while preserving its historic charm. As you walk through its corridors, you'll notice high ceilings, grand staircases, polished marble floors, and ornate moldings that speak to its historical roots. The soft, natural light pouring in through tall windows gives the gallery a serene, almost cathedral-like atmosphere, where art can be experienced in peace and quiet. The main exhibition areas are spread across 4 floors, each thoughtfully curated to create a smooth flow between different art styles and historical periods. The gallery includes historic courtrooms transformed into galleries. Former courtrooms have been turned into elegant exhibition halls. Their high ceilings and large wall spaces make them perfect for showcasing large paintings and immersive installations. The rotunda, a central circular space with a domed ceiling that often serves as a gathering point or a location for special exhibits and cultural events. The rooftop pavilion and terrace, a modern addition designed by architect Arthur Erickson, offering views of downtown Vancouver, outdoor sculptures, and space for open-air events. The annex spaces, smaller rooms and corridors used for intimate photography exhibitions, video art, and contemporary installations. One of the gallery's most known architectural features is its fusion of old and new. In 1983, architect Arthur Erickson redesigned parts of the building, adding glass, steel, and contemporary design elements that contrast beautifully with the original stone architecture. This blend symbolizes the gallery's vision, honoring the past while embracing the future of art. Beyond its present form, the Vancouver Art Gallery is also preparing for a major transformation. A new gallery building is being developed at Larwill Park, designed by the world-renowned architecture firm Herzog & de Meuron. The new structure will be larger, more sustainable, and built primarily from mass timber, making it one of the most environmentally friendly art museums in the world. Its design includes open courtyards, light-filled studios, indigenous cultural spaces, and room for over 350,000 artworks and archival items. This new building represents the next chapter in the gallery's journey, expanding its space, celebrating innovation, and deepening its connection to the community and the natural world. From its historic courthouse origins to its future as a world-leading cultural landmark, the architecture of the Vancouver Art Gallery tells a story just as powerful as the art it protects. Visiting the Vancouver Art Gallery is more than just seeing art. It's an experience that engages your senses, emotions, and curiosity from the moment you arrive. Whether you're stepping inside for the first time or returning to see a new exhibition, the gallery creates an atmosphere that is welcoming, inspiring, and unforgettable. As you approach the building, you're greeted by the grand stone facade and wide staircase, often filled with people relaxing, taking photos, or enjoying a peaceful moment in the heart of downtown. Street performers, local artists, and cultural events often take place outside, giving the entrance a lively, creative energy. Once you step inside, the atmosphere changes to quiet elegance. The soft lighting, polished marble floors, and spacious halls create a calm environment where you can slow down, reflect, and connect with the art. Friendly staff and volunteers are available to guide visitors, answer questions, and provide insights about exhibits. Every floor offers something different. The main level often features current exhibitions and stunning installations that immediately catch your eye. Upper floors showcase permanent collections, including works by Emily Carr, Indigenous artists, and Canadian historical pieces. Interactive spaces and audio guides allow visitors to dive deeper into the stories behind the artworks, including artist interviews, historical context, and behind-the-scenes information. Quiet seating areas are placed throughout the gallery so visitors can relax, sketch, or simply absorb their surroundings. One of the most enjoyable parts of the visit is the gallery store, filled with art books, handmade crafts, prints, jewelry, Indigenous designed items, and unique souvenirs inspired by exhibitions. It's a wonderful place to take a piece of art and memory home with you. There's also a cozy cafe, where visitors can enjoy coffee, tea, pastries, and snacks while overlooking the buzzing Robson Square. It's a favorite spot for artists, students, and tourists to rest and reflect on what they've seen. The gallery ensures accessibility for all visitors with elevators, ramps, stroller access, wheelchair-friendly spaces, and multilingual guides, so everyone can experience art without restrictions. Special days, like By Donation Tuesday evenings, make it possible for visitors to pay what they can, creating an inclusive and community-centered atmosphere. Throughout the year, the gallery hosts special events, live performances, film screenings, cultural celebrations, artist talks, and evening programs, bringing art to life through music, storytelling, and conversation. Seasonal exhibits make every visit feel new and exciting. There is always something different to discover. The Vancouver Art Gallery is more than a museum. It is a storyteller, a cultural bridge, and a sanctuary for creativity. From its historic architecture to its powerful exhibitions, from Indigenous voices to global masterpieces, every corner of this gallery invites you to think, feel, and wonder. It preserves the past, celebrates the present, and inspires the future. As you leave the gallery, the city of Vancouver feels different, more colorful, more meaningful, because art has a way of changing how we see the world. Thank you for joining this journey through one of Canada's most important cultural landmarks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more inspiring explorations of art, history, and beauty from around the world.